Hello everyone and welcome to Oriana Unlock. I am Oriana and on this channel we are going to be diving deep in order to unlock new knowledge on topics that truly matter. And today I'm very excited because we're going to be unlocking something very different, which is globalization and how our world functions. I'm honored to be joined today by a very special guest who is truly a mastermind on these topics. He is Dr. Werner Corrales Leal. Yes, he is an engineer from training, but his career has taken him much further than just blueprints and machinery. He has been a key figure in Venezuela's public policy, having served as Minister of Planning, Development, and International Trade. But his career has even taken him further than the frontiers of our country because he served as the ambassador of Venezuela to the UN offices in Geneva, Switzerland, even serving in the World Trade Organization. And he has been a world-renowned consultant on terms of globalization and development economics, having consulted for many important agencies like the UNCTAD, the Development Bank of Latin America and the Caribbean, so the GAF, and even the Organization of Economic Cooperation and Development. So he's basically the person you go to when you want to learn more about how our world and the gears of our world and a nation function. So everyone, please join me in welcoming our guest for today, Dr. Werner Corrales Leal. Dr. Corrales, thank you for being here today with us. It is truly an honor to have you here in Oriana Unlock, and I'm looking forward to our conversation.
Thank you very much, Oriana, for your invitation. I'm very pleased to be here with you.
Dr. Corrales, you negotiated at the World Trade Organization when the rules seemed sacred and even unbreakable. But today we see that the rules-based system appears to be shaking. Are we moving from a world of laws to a world where only the strongest prevails?
Well, actually, I would like to express that very recently, since January this year, the world has become aware of the fact that the world order that we had known for so many years is like tearing apart. This didn't start this year. This is something that comes from the beginning of the second decade of this century, because there are many actors in the system, such as Brazil, India, China, of course, Indonesia. There are many actors that at the end of the Second World War were very tiny trade actors in the world. But today they have become champions in different regions. These actors have been subject to a system of rules in which they have, for instance, in trade terms, they are subject to conditions according to which they have to pay, they have to buy based on dollars and not based on different other currencies. This gives to the US a very important advantage. Actually, whenever a country buys oil from Saudi Arabia, for instance, he has to use dollars. That means that this country is financing the international debt of the US. And this happens with all countries in the world. And this is only an example, the example I just gave you of oil. Almost all the trade in the world is paid on the basis of dollar and uses the SWIFT system of payments between banks. This is something that Brazil, Indonesia, of course, China, India, which have become champions in trade, want to change. This is one of the reasons why in the years 2010 through 2014, these countries began exerting pressure for changes in the system. They created at the beginning of the years 2000, they created the BRICS. BRICS is an alliance of countries which started being an alliance for trade. The main actors in this alliance are Russia, China, Brazil, India. Those are the initial ones. But today they are 14. They have been exerting pressure for these changes. The US, particularly responding to the leadership that China is developing, the US started in the second decade of this century, started to exert pressure at the IMF and at the WTO to, let's say, to put a halt to China. And making a long discourse short, President Obama or the administration of President Obama created a situation in the WTO that changed the basis of rules for trade, for the resolution of trade difficulties between countries. From this year, 2014, the pressure, which was in the reality but had not expressed yet in the institutions, expressed strongly in the WTO. The WTO, since that moment, has been weakened. It is no longer capable of solving problems between countries as it was before. And this is almost the same situation in the World Bank. In short terms, there is a need for a reform of the world order. Most countries in the world will benefit from making those reforms, but sustaining a new system based on rules. But a few countries, and particularly the US, has been exerting pressure, abandoning the use of the respect of rules. And this is actually what started happening this year.
What does this change in the rule system and the respect for rules mean today for the countries of our world, and especially for the developing countries?
In a system based on rules, all countries have the same rights, although there are countries which are very powerful and some others which are weak in terms of the GDP or in terms of the volume of trade. Most countries benefit, or all countries benefit from the basis rule organization or system of economic relations or political relations, whatever. The real risk we are facing today is that perhaps in the next few years we will be facing problems. When I say we, I'm talking about small countries or developing countries. We are facing risks for losing our rights because of the dominion of very powerful countries. A system, a world order without rules is a system in which only the world powers can exert pressure on the rest of the countries. So, putting it in a very dramatic, in very dramatic terms, small countries and developing countries in general are facing a situation in which we will not have the way of defending our rights.
You mentioned that since 2014, powers like the US have weakened the WTO. If the WTO can no longer act as an arbiter, what tools do developing countries have left to defend themselves in the global trade?
The only practical way the developing countries have today, if the WTO cannot recover its capacity for trade facilitation and for the solution of controversies between countries, the only way is creating new alliances or adhering, becoming part of, for instance, BRICS. That is the only way. But it is not a real solution. The real solution is to have again, not only in WTO but also in other multilateral organizations, have ways of solving differences.
Pandemics and global warming are problems that should unite us all for survival, as we have all experienced them. However, we are seeing setbacks such as the temporary withdrawal of support from the World Health Organization and even the Paris Agreement. Is it possible to meet the 2050 goal if major powers do not compromise on it?
Actually, I am very concerned because I don't think the world will be able to arrive to those goals that had been established for the decade, the 2050 decade. The main reason for not being able is that developed countries, particularly the US and some European countries, have not implemented investments to introduce new technologies in order to reduce the net production of gases of CO2, basically of CO2. There are plenty scientific basis to demonstrate that producing CO2 transforms this world in unlivable. The heating of the atmosphere in the whole world is a reality, and the origins of scientific new scientific knowledge, the main origin is the US. Although the present leadership of the US doesn't accept that reality. What solution I can foresee? I will say that hopefully in 2 years, the US administration will recover conscience and will come again to the World Alliance and become again a part in the Paris Agreement. There is no other solution, because the main producers of CO2 in the world are the US, Europe, and China. If one of these three actors deviate from the original agreements, the Paris Agreement, there is no possibility at all of reaching the goals that have been established for the next decade.